Some neighborhoods of Detroit, it looks like a hurricane.
Average home price, less than $6,000.
Today, he's got a .357 Magnum strapped to his hip.
Hunting raccoons and selling the meat to survive. Detroit is a city of death.
My name is Johnny Knoxville, and I am in Detroit, Michigan. Came here to see who's holding and who's got a sister. Come on, jokes. You see a lot of bad stuff in the press about Detroit. I can't believe there's nothing positive here. But we came to see what else is going on.
I don't think there's ever been a place where the possibilities of humanity were more actualized than they were in Michigan from 1945 to 72. It was beyond an American dream. It was an actuality. Everybody immigrated to America, got jobs. You were suddenly earning a middle-class wage. You'd buy a house in the suburbs. You could buy a second house up in the lake country and buy a boat, buy 2 cars, and die smiling.
Frequently called the most cosmopolitan city of the Midwest, Detroit today stands at the threshold of a bright new future.
Success, winning, conquering the world gave everybody in Detroit the one thing they wanted, which was the ability to leave Detroit. All the tax base left, the businesses left. There was a lot of class and race chaos. Everybody was caught in a swirl and nobody knew how to pull it together. It became an epic poem of failure.
You can go to any major city in the world and you can get homeless people, you can get crime, you can get a terrible picture of some guy lying in the street. But when it comes to Detroit, that's what they're going to show.
There's a lot of really great things going on here that people tend to gloss over and just focus on the ruin porn. It's like one more shot of the train station, like, you know, we get it, it's abandoned, it's huge.
These Dutch assholes come over here and all they want to do is take pictures of abandoned building, y'all. You know, that's all you want to do. You're going to make this magazine and say, look at all this urban decay. This place is like, it's so unique. It's an anomaly. Yeah, but at the time, like when you're meeting these people, you're not meeting them in these abandoned buildings. You're meeting them at these hipster hangouts.
There's a story in the media about the old Castech, which has been abandoned. But if he just moved over, he would see that there's a brand new, beautiful Castech. It's one of the best schools in the city. It's pick and choose journalism.
You can fit Manhattan, Boston, San Francisco, all within the city limits of Detroit, and it's lost over 1 million people in the past 30, 40 years. So there's an emptiness, there's a physical emptiness. As a human being, you do have a sense of your own voice and your own physical presence and your own possibility. When you're riding down a big, wide city boulevard and you're the only thing on it, you feel a little like the Omega Man. You know, it's like, I am here, you know, this is my city.
It's a blank canvas. It's a blank canvas for developing business, for just about anything that you could really think of. Right now is a possibility to really change the city.
There's like opportunities to do stuff, or like whatever you want really, and like no one will really mess with you. People don't really see that, they just see it as like this burned out place where like you're surrounded by death and destruction and like everyone's out to rob you and get you, but it's not really like that.
I think that entrepreneurial spirit can be very powerful, can be a much needed antidote to the city that's had its heart ripped out.
So we're going to meet Phil Cooley. He buys abandoned buildings and turns them into restaurants and stores. And I think he's doing a skate park. And he's also a young dude. So, I don't know, let's go meet him.
Yo, what's up, Johnny? How you doing?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So welcome to Slow's Barbecue. This is our expansion. We opened up about 5 years ago over by the old Michigan Central Station. We can't keep up with the need at our restaurant. And so now this is basically our carry-out and catering facility. It's just a massive kitchen.
Why did you come back to Detroit?
If I move to New York, I have no say in what happens in that city. And that's a ship you can't steer. If I'm here and I give a damn and I actually go out and I'm part of the community, I can actually do something and make a difference in Detroit. You don't really have a lot of chains, you know, choking out smaller stores. So in this city, people work together. We're so underserved commercially that small mom and pops make a lot of sense.
I've been a businessman in Detroit for probably about 35 years. But I'm more optimistic in the last maybe 3 to 4 years than I ever been. I was the first Mongo that ever sold liquor with a license. Because we always owned the speakeasies back in the 20s. Right around the 90s, and believe it or not, there was at least 4 people murdered on this street. So I said, let's mothball it until things change. See, when I first left, I always tell people, the pigeons had left. I mean, there was no homeless, there was nothing. About 5 years ago, I saw white girls running down the street. Now, in the past, everybody would call 911, like who's chasing them. So I realized that they were jogging. And I said, am I in this Detroit? And these kids who live down here, oh, they kept aggravating me, knocking on the windows. Sir, please open, please open. I said, okay, I'll open, give me a date. She said June 24th. So I'm sitting in here with a few of my buddies. I looked out the window, I said, excuse my language, I said, what in the hell is going on? It had to be 200 white kids out here on bicycles. I'm like, what? So I asked the kids, I said, what do you want? Sir, is it true you opening in 2 days? I said, who told you this? Oh, it's all on the text and the internet. But make a long story short, that night was so successful. Well, I see you every day. A lot of my buddies, they started saying, oh man, these little white kids taking over the city. So I say, no, they fill in the gaps. They left first, we filled in gaps. We left for the suburbs, they filling in gaps. If you could bring Cadillac, the early pioneers who founded this city, if you could bring them here right now, with the kids that come in this club, and there's a lot of things y'all gonna have in common, I wanna give this a start. It's not much here, I wanna make something happen. It's the same people.
I think the younger generation is able to look at a lot of things that might not be aesthetically pleasing or might seem a little bit too rough on the surface and see potential and how to transform them into something very usable.
Hi, Chip.
You know everyone in Detroit.
Yeah, everybody knows everyone in Detroit. There's only 8 of us left. So the pedestrian bridge here is a really cool project.
Does it go over the freeway?
Yeah, over the freeway. So, I mean, that's the main thing is, like, the freeways kind of divided up our city and went through a lot of our really strong, especially black neighborhoods. What ends up happening is, you know, you have all these segregated communities.
So you're rejoining your communities.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Hang on right here. We have a terrific architectural history in the city of Detroit, and a building such as Michigan Central, which is, you know, the same architect as Grand Central Station in New York City, it's one of our assets. People continually come in and photograph and visit, and it needs to be preserved. You can swing by into the old Michigan Central Station, see some of the crew. They're out there with my mom today, pulling weeds, just helping beautify the park. So we want to create like more of a plaza atmosphere. So we took the geometries and transferred them down to the ground plane, so it's like a shadow of the train station, so it would act as like a memorial if anything ever did happen to it. We're going to cut the roads that dissect it, put an amphitheater out there. We're also going to do a skate park under these trees here. I'm hoping to just open the doors, really, you know, and just let it be a performance space. That all of our efforts in the park are just to encourage something to happen here. Potentially, it could be rehab. That would be terrific. At the same time, it's beautiful now, and it's so unique. You'd never see a building like this in any other city because no one has let a building like this fall to such disrepair.